Hey guys, welcome back. Check out this old beast here. This was just dropped off to me today. This computer's got some issues, and the guy wants it fixed up so he can use it again. And it's an old Antec case, obviously. According to the little sticker here, it says Pentium 4 inside. Not really sure. I haven't opened it up yet, but he claims the sound stopped working, as did the USB port. So I'm not sure if we're looking at like a Southbridge issue or what, but we're gonna definitely get this cleaned up, and we'll take a good look and see what's going on here. There's no I/O shield on the back here. Yeah, let me go ahead and get the side panel off, and let's take a look at what's really going on inside here. Alright, let's take a look on the inside here. And it's got a full ATX motherboard in here. It looks like a Intel board. Yeah, there's an Intel branded board. So I'm gonna go through and get this hooked up, and we're gonna see what it does. Alright, now I most likely just found the issue with the USB. As you can see, that port right there is pretty mangled. So that's most likely the problem, and that may be, causing other issues that he's having with this. So before I even power it on, I'm going to try and make sure nothing's shorted in there. Alright, I think this is definitely the issue right here, because if you look, that one data pin right there is definitely touching the housing of this port here. So I'm going to try to get that out of there. Alright, so the data pin isn't touching anything now, and it doesn't look like the other pins are shorted. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get it all plugged back in, and we'll turn it on. And if it works, then I'll just see if I can just disable this port completely. Alright, so I've got it running. You can tell the fan's like awful loud in this thing. But this is what I get here. 512 megs of RAM. Memory error detected. Memory times have been reset to automatic settings. No big deal. Let's go into setup. Alright, so it says a 2 gigahertz Pentium 4. Let's just make sure everything is enabled here. Alright, that's absolutely a plug and play OS. Audio is enabled. Alright, both hard drives are showing up. Okay. USB. Everything's enabled. Alright. Let's find out. I've got speakers plugged into it along with a USB keyboard and mouse. And so far, the keyboard's working. And I don't know what he had. He must have had PS2, because he said that he only used a flash drive in the USB, and that it wouldn't read a flash drive. So, and there we go. We're getting into Windows XP. And alright, I've got no volume control here, so let's not even worry about that. Getting the control panel. Place volume icon in the taskbar. Alright. Alright, so it's muted. There we go, we've got sound. Let's find something here that may have some sound to it. And I don't know what game this is, but yeah, we're gonna we'll just do this. Fuck, I don't know what the fuck this is. Yes, I want to quit. Let's see, Polar Golfer. Okay. Definitely hear some sound. So that's good. Now we gotta just check the USB ports and the good USB ports and just see if we've got USB connectivity. See if we've got some USB connectivity. So I'm gonna go through and plug a flash drive into several of them since that's what he said he uses, and we'll see what happens. Alright, found new hardware. Alright, let's open up my computer, and you can see right here. There's my flash drive. We know those other two work. Let's check his front ones. Alright, so I gotta take a look at the front USB ports also. And those actually just appear to be a little bit dirty here, so let's spray some goop in there. Hate when I start running out of this shit. Alright, let's see what we can do here. Alright, USB ports not recognized, so alright, let me look into this, I'll be right back. Alright, so there's obviously an issue with the ports on the front too for the USB because I have this whole thing here. I just plugged a cable into either that or it's the cable. But I just plugged this cable in. I think this came off an HP or some shit. And now these two USB ports that's hooked to work perfectly fine. So I'm going to replace the ports in the front. But there is another issue. I don't know if you can hear that. Yeah, so that power supply don't sound too good. So I'm going to go ahead and replace that too. I believe I've got one here that I can swap out. And we'll see how it does. Alright, as you see, motherboard's out. This is a battery I replaced in there, so don't have to worry about that anymore. But you can see, gotta do something about that. And also this USB port right here. I'm gonna desolder that and just replace it with a whole new double USB header there, and or what do you call it, USB plug there. And we'll once this is off, because I gotta take this apart and clean it, and we'll repaste that Pentium 4 because I'm sure it's gonna need it. And then we'll get the case blown out, get the rest of the fans cleaned up, and we'll put it all back together. Alright, so we got the old USB port out of there, and we're getting ready to solder in the new one. And this is just one that was pulled from my dead motherboard. We're just going to go through and get it soldered on here. And yeah, this was already flux too, so you could see the flux melting on there. Alright, now we just get the USB pins. Hopefully you guys can see and I'm not too much in the way here. I can't even see myself. I'm getting my own way here. Alright, now I'm just going to go through and just retouch all the connections here. I gotta get a better angle, man. Trying to do this shit in front of the camera, it just sucks. Alright. Most of these joints are going to be cold here right now because I just want to get the solder in there to hold it into place. So now I just go through and get it reflowed. And you can tell, man, it flashes over in a nice shiny silver and you're good to go. Right. I've got a bridge here I gotta get off. Right there. And fine. Let's grab a piece of copper wire. Alright, there we go. There's one USB. Okay, let's see, where's it at? Right. Okay. There we go. There's one USB connector replaced. And we just got to deal with the front panel one now. Alright, so here's the front of that case. And here's the USB cables. You see, they get this cleaned out here good. I just did have a dust filter in there, but I think it was kind of overloaded. So if we come back over here, here's the USB connector in the front. And yeah, I'm just gonna, instead of replacing this, I think I'm gonna replace the cable. And I'm just gonna touch up these solder joints on there, you know, just get all the dust cleaned off. So right now I'm gonna head out, I'm gonna get everything blown out, get all the dust cleaned off, everything, including that. And we'll come back, we'll get everything put back together. So we got a bunch of clean parts here now. And the CPU, of course, came out, stuck to the bottom of the heatsink here. So we see we got that all cleaned up. We're gonna put some thermal paste on there. It's a Pentium 4 socket 478. You can tell by the pins on the bottom. Alright, so we're going to grab some of our trusty Protronics, or Protronics. We'll put a good schmooge on there. There we go. Get a decent little gob on it. And now let's see if I can get this hooked up without getting in the way. Alright. Yeah, these old style freaking Intel coolers. One of these is hooked already. That one, there we go. Alright, so now latch her down. She's done. Tuck our wire out the way. Yeah, I got the heatsink nice and clean, all the dust blown off the board. We brought the case out there and got that blown out. Everything's nice and clean. So this is good to go. So let me get the case here and we'll go ahead and we'll throw this motherboard in the case. Alright, so here's looking inside our case, and it's not spit shine, but I mean it's all blown out and a lot cleaner than it was. And I don't know really how to get you guys a better view in here. I'll do the best I can now. And without like ripping out every drive in here, we'll try to figure out how to get this motherboard in. Find the right angle of the dangle. There we go. That'll work. Cables in the way everywhere here. Alright. Make sure we got no cables pinched underneath. Alright, now it's just a matter of screwing it down. Alright, so now we can get some cables hooked up here. This cable looks like it's got some issues here. And we'll see if it's alright. If not, then we'll have to deal with it. Alright, so there's primary IDE is the black one. Secondary is the white one. And of course, you know, cable management's going to be pretty non-existent here. And then we'll try to finagle these out of the way as best as we can. Alright, so this is some kind of bullshit here. I have a cable here that I was going to use to, you know, replace the USB cable to the front port here, right? It's standard. It's your standard USB connector, but you look at the one that came with this case, and it's some kind of fucking hokey ass thing. And pinout's different on it, and, you know, I was hoping to actually use a normal cable because these are what you plug into the motherboard, and of course they got to plug in your, you know, it's a standard pinout on the motherboard there for USB, so you just plug these in. But this end right here isn't your typical USB layout, so yeah, that's fucked. So I'm beginning to think that this thing is fucking cursed. Let's go plug some power in here, and you watch, I'll turn it on. So I find the power button here. Well, switch the power supply on, helps. Alright, power supply switched on. Check. Lights on the motherboard. And you can see, well, it put up the splash screen. It's running. You can hear it running. This fan's got a vibration right here. Alright, so let's switch the power supply off. And all I'm going to do is plug in this hard drive here. Alright, now I'm going to turn it on. Poof! Shuts right down. And I can hit the power button all day long and it does nothing. Alright, so I even went through and I had it hooked up to this, this is an 800 watt Enermax power supply. It's a brand new power supply, and it does something. The fan spins and it shuts right off on the power supply. So in the original Antec one here, when I hook it up to that, watch what happens here. Give me a second to get that one hooked up. Alright, so I've got the Antec power supply plugged in, and I've just got this plugged into the end to turn it on when I hit the switch, and we're plugged right into that same hard drive. And I'm going to find the power button on the power supply. You can hear power supply is powering up the hard drive and it's not cutting off. Now the other two, if I hook up the exact same way, they cut off immediately. So there's definitely a short in that hard drive somewhere, and I think that this Antec just doesn't have as good of short protection as the other two, and that's probably why when everything's when you have it hooked up to everything in there, when you shut the computer down, you don't hear it right now, but you can hear this thing whining before, and I think that's because there's a short. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back in there for him, because it does work with this hard drive, and that way he can have the opportunity to save everything that he wants to save off that hard drive, and then he's going to have to just get another hard drive. And this power supply still seems to be good. Like I said, I think it just doesn't have the short protection, as good of short protection as the other one. So, alright, got the original Antec power supply back in there. Got the hard drive plugged in, and everything seems to be working. So, like I said, it's not that this doesn't have any short protection. I'm sure it's got some. I just think the tolerance is probably much higher than on these other two. Obviously, this hard drive doesn't have a dead short in it. I mean, I checked, I checked between the grounds and the 5 and 12 volt on the hard drive, and I couldn't find any short. So it's probably just a, leakage to ground, but that's enough to trip these other ones. And this one keeps going, although after it's, after you shut it down, you do hear that whine coming from it. So I think that would probably go away if this hard drive here was replaced. And as you can see, we come right back up to Windows. So now I just want to check these USB ports and make sure they work. Alright, so I've got the front connector hooked up with the original cable, and I cleaned everything out really good. So let's see what happens. USB device not recognized. Alright, see, I'm not sure if there's a cable issue or what the hell is going on, because it happens on both. And they both got a separate set of wires that go down to the connector on the motherboard. So I'm not sure what the story is with that, but like I said, it's got that weird plug on there where I just can't put a regular one on there. So I just wiggle the cables on the board there. And yeah, same thing, not recognized. So I don't know what the hell that's about. I think, I mean, I tried a different USB board with a different cable, but now I'm stuck. I have to use the same board with the USBs and the same cable. So it's one or the other. It's either this or the cable. I don't know what the hell's going on with it. Looks like front USBs are probably not going to end up working on this one. So now let me check the rear ones that I replaced and see how they work. Alright, try the other. Oh, that's weird. One works and one doesn't. Alright, so round 1700 or whatever, I don't know where the fuck we're at now. One USB port doesn't work, and I still haven't got the front ones to work, so I'm trying something different. So I'm going to plug this in here. Let me get this in the stand. Alright, and I've got like parts and pieces all over the fucking place now. But anyways, I'm going to see. Okay, so you guys can see this. This one I pulled out of an old E-Machines, and it was a lot longer, and it had audio ports on either side, so I had to trim this down so that it's the same width as this. It doesn't have the notches in the front, but we'll see if it works here. I fucking hope so. Alright, so that one works. And that one works, so now we've got front working USB. Alright, so I'm fucking happy. I just got to take the connector off of here and attach this to the front here where this one used to be. Get it all hooked up, and I think we can actually button this one up finally. Alright, so we got everything wrapped up on the inside. We got, did what we could with these cables. I mean, there's really not a whole lot you can do. Just, zip tie them up to here so they don't flop around. Got that fan back in after it was clean. That fan's back in. The original power supply's back in. You can hear that thing whine because there's still a short in this hard drive here. So I'm going to have him get all the stuff off of there that he wants, and then he can either replace it or he can bring it back. I'll just put another hard drive in there for him. Like I said, I think this power supply is still good. I think it just has a much higher threshold to where it'll tolerate a short, which could be good thing or bad thing. I guess good thing in this case, because he's still able. I mean, any other hard drive he wouldn't be able to get his stuff off there because you can't boot up. Also replaced the DVD-ROM that was in here with a DVD burner. So he said this one was opening and closing really slow and sticking a lot. So the front USB, just replaced that whole assembly. I had to take a bigger board. I had a USB assembly. It was a stacked USB 2.0 like that on a bigger board though, and it had audio jacks on either side, and I had to actually cut that down. And yeah, that's what we got hooked up, so that works. The only thing that doesn't work is the one USB port in the back here still doesn't work, but out of 6 USB ports on here, 5 of them now work, and when it came in, none of them worked, so that's a success. So let me get this fired up, and we'll check it out. Alright, so you see USB works on the front. Only one doesn't work on the back, but the other 3 do. Also added, he had 512 megabytes of DDR in here, so I gave him another 512, so he's got 1 gig of RAM in here. I did swap out the DVD drive to a DVD burner because that one was sticking. But yeah, this one's pretty much a wrap now. It's good to go. So let me show you guys here real quick what I got in payment, and then we'll wrap this up. Alright, so this is what I got in return. Fully working compact Presario SR 1103WM, and you know, everything seems to function good on it. It's got a Celeron in it, I believe. At least that's what the sticker on the front says. This thing looks like it was a factory reinstall on here. It's got a lot of the shit that you'd see, but let's see, let's find out. Get rid of that. Alright, yep, Intel Celeron, 512 megs of RAM, 2.53 gigahertz Celeron. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. Let's take a look at device manager here. Yeah, just shitty old Intel, the 82845 graphics. So yeah, I mean, nothing amazing, you know, and is it worth the effort I put into the other one? No, but you know what, it's I was helping somebody out, and you know, they appreciated it by letting me have this, so that's kind of cool. So alright, well, that wraps this one up, and I hope you guys you know, found that interesting, as interesting as I did. A little frustrating for me, but in the end, you know, it turned out good. Customer will be happy, so that's cool. Alright, we'll see you guys on the next one.